A number of security incidents at schools around the country has prompted new concerns about the security of schools and what can be done to improve the safety of students. Prior to the end of the Nevada legislative session, lawmakers approved funds to improve security at schools around the state. Here to discuss the issue is Katie Dockweiler, a nationally certified school psychologist based out of Lucille Rogers Elementary School. Also joining us, Sergeant Bryan Zink of the Clark County School District Police. Thanks both of you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Katie, let's start with you. So school-based mental health professionals, that's school counselors, that's social workers, that's psychologists. What do they bring to the table in terms of adding security? How do they help security?
Sure. So all those three school-based mental health professionals can add preventative measures to schools. So if we are preventative in the approach that we take to students, whether it be through internalizing behaviors such as anxiety or depression, or externalizing behaviors, we can help to ensure that they make good choices and have the resources they need so that they make good decisions when it comes to security down the road.
And also being able to spot that student that may be having trouble, but the teacher maybe is dealing with so many other things, they don't have the attention that maybe a social worker or counselor would to bring those issues to light and to find out more.
Absolutely. So through systems such as a multi-tiered system of support, we can provide those social, emotional, behavioral interventions, identify the needs, and provide the interventions in a timely manner to kind of curtail some of those issues down the road.
So from your perspective, they're very central to keeping schools secure and knowing about the students and what's happening with them.
Very critical.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Sergeant Zink, so I know a number of improvements have been made this school year that we are now finished with, but give us a highlight. Some of the things that have happened within the schools in terms of increasing safety.
Well, some of the programs that started and we've had a lot of good success with is the beginning of the school year, the superintendent and our chief rolled out the random search program. And basically what that is that school staff is taught how to conduct a search. They have a computer system that'll randomly generate a school and a classroom, and then our officers will go train the staff on how to conduct a search, and then they'll do it the next day. Then after that rolled out, then we were lucky enough in January and February to have our own K-9 team start. We have 4 K-9 that are just 100% dedicated to firearm detection. That's all they do. Right. And they're trained on how to identify the components associated with guns, gun oil, bullets, shell casings, the odors associated with that. And then probably right before the end of the school year, they started going out and conducting random searches as well based on the same criteria. And they did that, and they do that.
Okay. 23 guns were confiscated on school grounds this past year.
Yes.
17 of them brought to the school by juveniles, 6 were adults. Were the juveniles all students or a majority students?
Majority of them were either current students or former students of a school, but somehow they were associated with the school district.
Okay. Katie, I would like to ask you this. So if we don't know exactly how much money yet the school district will get, but in terms of just finding enough of social workers, counselors, et cetera, it's much like the teacher shortage. There are not always enough people who can take those jobs. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. So for example, we're having significant shortages in Nevada for all 3 of those professions. For example, school psychologists, our national recommended ratio is 1 to 500, and our current ratio is about 1 to 2,200. So that's significant. And also, Nevada only has 1 training program for school psychologists, and they graduate approximately 5 students per year. And the current need just to maintain that high ratio of professionals is approximately 30. So you can see that's definitely a problem.
Yeah, there's some room for improvement there, but I don't know is there a solution to that?
So that's a good question. I think that one of the solutions could be examining our higher education training opportunities, and we could certainly expand programming for all 3 of the professions and incorporate some sort of stacked degree programs to facilitate a school-based mental health pipeline.
Right, okay. Sergeant Zink, so you also don't know exactly how much money you will have to make improvements, the department, but what kinds of things could we expect or should we expect will happen, or do you know?
Well, if we do get additional funding, I know one of our big goals is to hire more officers. More officers in our department mean more officers on the street, more officers servicing our schools. Our current goal is to have 2 campus officers at every high school and 1 per middle school, or 1 officer that would then share a couple of middle schools, and then of course increase our elementary school patrol program. We'd like to add more officers to our K-9 team because, as you said,
You've got 4
we have
K-9
4 now.
officers?
We'd like to add 4 more, but of course there's costs associated with that.
A lot of training for those dogs as well.
A lot of training, exactly. And then if we could also expand our traffic bureau. We have 4 officers and a sergeant who currently go out on motorcycles and do patrol around the schools and respond to accidents, things like that. And so of course we'd like to expand that program.
Are the random searches primarily at high schools? Or?
No, the high school and middle schools.
High school and middle schools, okay. So Katie, before we wrap up, I wanted to give you an opportunity to say, so what the solution in kind of helping people understand what social workers, psychologists, counselors can do, and getting them involved. What needs to happen? Getting people interested in the career, that's part of it, I suppose, but what other solutions should there be?
So from my perspective, I think that we need to have a basic acknowledgement that this is a statewide issue. This is not a district level issue or a building level issue. It's from the state level all the way down to our communities. Secondly, I think looking at those higher education training programs, the stacked degree programs, and then doing outreach into our high schools and communities so that they actually know, like you mentioned, that these career fields exist. And then finally, looking at scopes of practice to better differentiate and create these career ladders to assist with other issues such as hiring, retention, attrition, differentiated pay scales, and professional growth systems.
Okay, well, appreciate the input from both of you. I know it was quick, but we appreciate your time.
Thank you.